The following program is a real estate and mortgage show and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is advised. Good morning and welcome to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts Randy, Jackie, and Anthony right here on Reality Radio 101. To contact us live right now, send us an email. Our email address is onair@yourteam.pro. And now, ladies and gentlemen, right to your hosts of Your Home, Your Money, Randy, Jackie, and Anthony.
Yo!
How come I'm so far back? Look, I look like a man in a broom. Look how big you are to me. Holy cow. That's what we look like? Look at me. I look like a little peanut, and you look like a huge grape.
Peanut? Never mind.
Trying to not ignore all that.
If you're going to use grape, you got to use raisin as the counterfeit, as the other one to it. Isn't a raisin a small? Isn't a raisin a small grape?
Okay. You know I do everything all upside down anyway, so you guys should be used to that. And I promise I won't get distracted by the turtles out there in the beautiful water.
I don't think that's a promise you can keep, Jackie.
I know.
Yeah.
I lied.
So Anthony, you're in the Dominican. What's going on?
We are in the DR. Yes, me and my family. We are out here in this sweltering heat, but I can't complain because we don't get too much of it back in Canada. But it's nice. It's a nice little resort here. As I was telling you guys before the show, we first booked a hotel because it's me, my wife, kids, family, sister, brothers, a whole bunch of us. So we're looking for a place that was good but not too expensive at the same time. And we found a place we thought was good, rated 4 stars, but a little bit of issues as we got there. So the room wasn't quite up to par. One of the rooms actually, because you get the key cards like we get back home. So we get to the rooms. We all have our key cards. I go in my room. Sister goes in her room. Dad goes in his room. We all go in. We don't realize one of the rooms didn't even have a key card, but they put the key card to the door, just thinking, okay, it's there, and open the door, walk in. Realize I come to the room later. I'm like, you don't have the reader. So the door just opens. So there's no lock on one of the doors, and nobody realized it at first. Yeah. So you have the key, right? Like the little square thing. You put the card up to it, turns green, you go in. So they had the card. They went like that on the door. Just not thinking about it, right? So did that. Open the door. Door opens. Like, okay, it works. But then I came by later. I'm like, there's no key card here. The door just opens. You don't there's no security. So there's that and other little things. Like there's little things where I guess we're a bit spoiled. We're looking for the best, but when you pay the money, you want the best, right? So long story short, luckily we were able to upgrade to a hotel right beside for like $10 a day. And we are enjoying our time so far.
Nice. So how hot is it there?
It's hot enough where when I walk outside, I start sweating. So whatever degrees that is what it is.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing here.
Yeah, I'll tell you what it is here right now, and it hasn't heated up yet. It's 31 right now here, and it's still early. The sun hasn't really poured in yet.
But here, it's not even the sun really here though. Here it's just like it's hot, and then like it's this moisture in the air. I don't know if it's the moisture, what it is, but it's just a different heat than back home. Like back home is just like I don't know. It's just different.
Yeah, no, I know. I sit down to have lunch, and when I come back up in the room, I got to change because all my clothes is soaked. But I wouldn't trade it. But hey,
I've given up the change. I don't have enough clothes. I'm gonna go in the pool, and then whatever happens. It's not worth the 10 changes per day.
Yeah, well, you're a man.
Yeah, that's how I deal with it too. Whatever I put on in the morning, dinner, lunch, everything
I changed for dinner. So I changed for dinner and all that. And he's in the same
Same
clothes.
clothes. I might, when I go to the room, take off my t-shirt. And then I put the same one back on. That's how I roll.
That sounds
So now
about
you all know, guys, how nasty he's looking.
I think it's different with guys.
Oh, look, he's covering my knees up with my dress. It's only you and me here.
Just fixing it. Yeah, so I think it's different with guys. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, well, I don't know. I don't know this with guys, but I think for guys, I think whatever we have on is good enough. The only reason we really do change because the wife makes us, and she just, no, you can't wear that to dinner. You got to do it. So.
Well, the women in my world, they have every day planned out. So I think it probably is a woman thing.
Yeah,
Like literally.
I find that exhausting. If you know, like, the people when they go on vacation, they got this itinerary, right, of all the things that they're doing on that trip, and it's like, wow, that just sounds so exhausting. No wonder you need a vacation from the vacation.
Usually.
Hey, you're awfully quiet, Jackie.
It's okay. I just sent my laundry out to get it cleaned. So, pretty inexpensive here to do those things. I took a big bag of it down there. It might cost me 30 Barbados, and they wash, fold it all up for me, and I just pick it up. Pretty cheap.
What's the exchange rate?
What's the exchange rate, Randy?
It's 2 to 1 American.
So
it's fixed on in Barbados.
So it's 15 bucks then? That's not bad.
Yeah, America, like I said, and that's like folded and everything. And it's just down the street. So I made the mistake a couple times of sending it out here to whoever they do, and that was a little more expensive. And I said, no, I'm gonna walk down the street with my bag, I think. Yeah.
You don't want to pay the middleman.
We actually
I sent your dry cleaning out.
we actually learned quite a bit. Like,
yeah, this time
we've been taking the bus instead of like a cab. The cab, let's say, to go to the other resort because we got a meeting up there or whatever, and it's normally 45 US. But now for $7 Barbados, which is $3.50 US, we can take the bus and go.
And it goes on up there. Just sit on the bus and drops you right in front of the resort.
So, yeah, it's like so like you learn these differences, right? We found,
which makes sense.
Which makes sense. We also found like in town, it's like supermarkets that the locals go to, and then even when they go to that, you got the food that we have in Canada, and then you got the food that they have here. The food that they have in Canada, like for a big bag of chips, is probably, well, it's about
$13
$13,
Barbados. Yeah.
$13, $14 to $20, but you can
It's a little
go
more expensive.
5 aisles down and get the chips, but with Barbados names and stuff, and it was like $3 Barbados. Yeah. And stuff, right? So we started learning the difference.
Well, that makes sense.
Like a mini Costco, like that sort of thing where you could buy like big bags of it. Like it was like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you're buying the American chips, they gotta pay the price and then mark it up. So that does make sense. That it would cost more there.
But the cost of things is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I will say that because we went in. There was a dress that Jackie has. And so we went
Ralph
into
Lauren.
Ralph Lauren. We went into Ralph Lauren's store, and it was like $800 Barbados for that dress.
But I didn't pay nowhere near that.
But it's okay. But it's Ralph Lauren. Isn't that stuff expensive to begin with?
But Anthony, when I bought it, it was probably $200.
$200.
And I bought it here on the island, the same store, a year or whatever later, and it's marked up like 4 times.
Oh,
and
from the same place? Like same store in Barbados?
Same store.
Exact same
Same
store,
store, same
same
dress.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. I was like, I have never seen like a bathing suit and there was like $1,000 Barbados. I'm like, what the heck is going on here?
So is what you're saying is that we shouldn't be crying about inflation out here then? If they're going up 400%, we should be fine with the 8% here?
I couldn't,
Well-
but it is the West Coast, which is
Yeah, more expensive.
very expensive up there,
Um,
but still, like, that
yeah.
was like, because I showed him, I'm like, Randy, this is my dress. Look at the price of it now. Like, I couldn't believe it.
I was saying you should go and trade it in, get some money. You can bring all your clothes back, open up like a booth outside their store, Ruffle and booth, and sell everything at half price. We become millionaires.
I don't have that much Ralph Lauren.
Sell all the other stuff too.
Okay.
It's consideration as a new career moving forward.
Interesting. Okay, I'll think about that.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, before we move on, we had one email from Beth. I want one from earlier, which we'll get to in a second. But Beth says, "Wow, I'm in the wrong business. All of you in the Caribbean, nice. Enjoy your time." Well, I wish it was so.
Yeah, so there's a lot to unpack there, really, but
Yeah.
so when you think about it, you're in the Caribbean, but back home is the nicest weather of the year,
Now,
and we're missing that at home. So
now we're going back to winter.
and
So
we're going
it's
back
a little
to winter.
backwards.
So yeah, but what it is this time period is a low period for real estate. And so because of that, this is sort of like the time to, if you're gonna go away, the time to go away and not really miss a lot.
But every time we go away,
Yeah, business kind of starts to shoot up. It's a
2
weird one.
listings this week, and I'm like, what the heck? Like, and I'm here. So it's like, it always happens. I don't know, it's weird.
It is weird. And actually, come to think of it, Anthony's away. We're
Yeah.
away. Amanda's coming, so it's only gonna be Oren.
Oran's left home to
So-
deal with everything.
To deal with everything.
You have to do everything, so.
That's
Yeah.
right. I actually didn't give that any thought, but yeah.
Oh, I did. I told
What-
you yesterday.
When
but-
do you go back?
Tuesday, I believe.
Okay, cool.
Few more
On
days.
another note, guess who we met?
Yeah, but he knows her
So-
virtually.
So we're sitting, yeah, you would know her virtually. We're sitting, having dinner, and the person beside us,
Hmm.
we strike a conversation with her. And she's
She
the,
lives up the street from us, back home. And she was the virtual VP at Dunbarton School.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Hold it, Cheryl,
Lisa?
Cheryl
Sure,
Rock.
okay, sure. Oh yeah. Okay.
And I said, oh, you know Anthony? though?" She's like,
yeah,
and she just, her eyes go like, she's like, what? And then we had breakfast with her this morning, and Randy just because she's the principal now of Anderson
Okay.
Collegiate there. She's starting there this year.
which for everybody, just to let them know, which is like 2 blocks away
From our house.
So we're sitting in Barbados beside someone who's our neighbor. It's
Yeah,
insane
basically.
that we. Like,
And so then Randy says, oh, he's like, you probably know so-and-so, which is Oren's wife.
and then she
And she's
starts
like,
rhyming
like,
off
yeah.
her jobs where she's working.
And I'm like,
She came
oh
back,
my goodness,
"Oh,
this
you
is
know
crazy.
Oren?" And she knows Oren. It's like, what the heck is this?
But six
She
degrees of
knows
separation.
you,
Yeah,
She knows Oren,
she knows
um,
Oren's wife.
and she's our neighbor. And like, and we met in Barbados for the very first time in our lives.
It's,
Kind of crazy. It's kind
yeah,
of,
yeah.
it was
We
cool.
were all freaked out by it, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah. it's
I guess
weird.
mine's not as big, but as you know, Randy, I play basketball on Wednesdays, and my first day here, I ran into someone who actually comes on the ones they run. I don't think you know him,
gosh.
Owen. Yeah, I'm there. I feel tap my shoulder. I turn around. This guy's there. I'm like, hey, what's up? So
Crazy.
Oh my gosh.
When they say it's a small world, they really
Yeah.
mean that.
Yeah, wow. So
But Jackie got an email here
from Lenore,
from
did you see that one, Anthony?
yeah, I was gonna talk about that one. Yeah.
Okay,
So
yeah.
Laura asked about the interest rate. She says, "Hey, to the real estate show, what are the interest rates here in the GTA?" I'm so offhand, you can probably answer that better than Randy, right now.
Yeah, so interest rates is always depending on the person's credit, the down payment, and all these different things go into what type of rate you could get. But in the absolute best case scenario where everything falls in line, you might be able to get like 5.2. And then it goes up from there, 5.5, 5.4, 4, whatever, and it can go up to 6 depending on your scenario. So yeah, that's the current rates on the ground.
What's the bank rate right now? Do you know offhand? Like
Bank of Canada is at 5%. Yeah.
Yeah. So as long story short, Bank of Canada rates 5%. If you're asking about what you would get for a mortgage, as Randy said, depends on your particular situation that you got.
Got some more emails, Anthony.
Oh, I'm out of my game.
Did you get them?
Okay. Sue. That one from Sue. Sue says, hey to Anthony. If the hotel where you are staying screws you, pee in the pool. That's all. Well, I think that's a screw you or not type of situation. I think
that's all she says. That was good.
Well, as I said, luckily, Sue, we were able to get out. We didn't even spend the day there. We were there for like maybe 2 hours because luckily we had an early flight. So our flight was 6 a.m. We got to the Dominican by around 11, and then we're in the hotel by 1. We're out of that hotel by probably 6 that night. So it was a bit of a stressful 5 hours, but we're out that same day. So we leveled up quickly, thankfully, and thankfully it wasn't too expensive to do so. So yeah, so that's. Well, thank you, Sue. I'll keep that in consideration. I might go back there and do it. It's not too far.
You get arrested for peeing in the pool and then you can't come back to Canada?
Well, I did keep on the band, so I can get in. Right, so I have this is the new band here, and that's the old band there. So I could go back and I want to get a snack or a pee break. And from Eric says, "Hey all, is this neighborhood hot? Did you have a threesome? Nice." I don't know if you're saying like maybe we have so many sales. We're like,
oh yeah, no. What he's referring to is 3 people at breakfast, and yeah, we do.
Yeah,
I believe that's what he's referring to. I don't know. Might be a little naive there. And
no, he didn't.
okay, yeah. So do you got some buzz?
Yeah, I have one. Well, I'll start. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be here the whole show. As I said, I might be the hired gun for now. But what I do have is so last week we were talking about the condos, right? So how condo prices are seeming to come down a bit. And I was reading an article this morning, really talking about how a lot of investors are actually trying to get out of the market because of the interest rate hikes, and basically and they're kind of over leveraged. I mean, if you're an investor. A few years ago, maybe you have 2 or 3 condos. When the rates were very low, you were doing fine, right? Because the prices are low, everything was low. But now, if you have 3 condos, as the rates go up, you don't have 1 mortgage going up. You have 2, 3, who knows how many, right? So, if that's the case, a lot of these investors may be over leveraged, might have to offload their condos, which could potentially help bring the condo price down even more, right? So, I'm not sure you guys' thoughts on that, but yeah.
Yeah, that is actually part of the marketplace. See, the marketplace right now, the numbers are looking good. Okay, so when we go through the stats, and we did last week, and we'll touch on them again this week, it's hard for any realtor or the public to take those stats and then understand the market, because the market is doing something very different than what the stats are doing. So, and very similar to, remember last year, the prices were coming down like crazy, but we were still over last year. Remember, that was like a really weird setup. Well, this year, the numbers are again over last year, but you got to remember that at this time last year was the worst time period. And so for the numbers to be better, that's not saying much. They have to be a lot better for it to really mean that the market is doing well. What the market is actually doing, even though sales are up 7.8%, average price is up 4.2%, even new listings are up 11%, and that's something that you got to keep your eye on. right, is that the new listings is outpacing sales. And what that means is that we're going to have more and more inventory. As we have more and more inventory, that will then give buyers more and more choice, which is going to have a downward pressure on price. And since what we're seeing is that we're seeing a market that's declining in sales, and we're seeing a market that inventory is growing, this is actually a really bad sign for the future. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that we're into the summer months, which traditionally does gather more inventory, does have less sales. However, Toronto Real Estate Board does do something through realtors where they have these seasonally adjusted numbers, and they're adjusting them for basically, the lower periods. Well, seasonally adjusted, we are still well below those numbers. And so that means that the market is actually not trending in a normal way. It's trending in a negative way. So that's something to sort of see for all the people out there that heard that jargon and says, what does that really mean? It means for buyers, they're going to have more choice and lower prices. And sellers are going to be on the market longer and have to give up, are going to get less money. That's really what's going to happen. So now, understanding a little bit of the history of it, going back to what Anthony was talking about, now you have these investors that are now over leveraged because of the interest rates going up the way that they have. The cost to those investors are astronomical compared to their rents now, and therefore it doesn't make sense to have their investments the way they do. The good thing about it is that the investors that have multiple properties that have had them for some time, they do have an equity buildup in there. So what they're kind of looking to do is to unload one or two of their investments and take that and pay down the other ones so that they can protect themselves against any problems coming up soon in the future. Oh, one thing I do want to say, or protect themselves from going bankrupt, really, or eating all of their current cash flow. The Bank of Canada did put out an announcement, I believe, that they are not going to raise rates come September. So what are you laughing about, Anthony?
They say stuff all the time. Does that really mean anything? They might say it and do a double hike.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's hard. I don't know if there's very many people that have confidence in the way that the Bank of Canada is being run. I think Tiff Macklin is going to go down in history as the absolute worst governor of the Bank of Canada. I think that only Justin Trudeau would keep him there. I think if there was any other prime minister, they appointed him, they would let him go and appoint somebody else, because honestly, if you guys are here listening to the news or anything, everything is being turned on its head. He wanted to slow down even employment in that, and he's got it now. So, at what point can he actually hold this economy up? People are saying, yeah, we're looking at the soft landing, and I would agree that at this point we're in a soft landing. But if you guys remember on the last show, like I said, we're only a year and a half so into his rate hikes, and that's how long it takes for them to appear in the marketplace. So now we're seeing insolvencies up 20%. We're starting to see the real estate market start to convert and have a path that looks like it's going to be a real estate crash. It looks that way. It looks like we're at the starting of that point, and the issue really being that we are now going to be affected by those interest rate hikes. They're really going to start to play into the economy. We're seeing job losses, we're seeing insolvencies, we're seeing price declines, the credit card payments and car payments and all those things are starting to record that, you know, people just can't afford to pay them. Credit cards are being maxed and not being paid. So this is how our economy, this is how it starts to crumble. And so we'll see.
They're taking from Paul to pay Peter, right? So
And even to jump on too, like you talk about the year and a half, like one of the reasons is because of all these mortgage rates. If you signed your mortgage 4 years ago, 3 years ago, and especially if you had a fixed mortgage, right? So the people with fixed mortgages, they're the ones who were laughing. Well, they were laughing until until that mortgage finishes, right? Because then they're into the new world, right? So they had maybe the 2%, the 1 point, whatever it was at, like the crazy low percentage, and then going from that up to like maybe 6, right? So and that's a huge increase in your payment. So you don't really, but you kind of think when your mortgage finishes, you're gonna have it might be plus or minus, you would say $100, $200. And these people might be plus 1,000, plus 2,000. Who knows?
Yes, that's in essence the issue, is that they'll be plus or minus $1,000 or $2,000 extra per month for their mortgage. I mean, the problem isn't just the cost of that mortgage. It's everything has gone up. Yeah, you're right. It's the food, it's everything has gone up. So, their cost of living is so much higher, and then their mortgages are going to come due. And so all this looks like there's going to be more and more inventory hit the market. And that's really what's going to happen. And that is the problem. And don't forget, it's not like because these homes hit the market now we have more housing. No, we still have a housing problem. So we're going to have shortage of housing, and people can't afford the housing. Those two combined together is
going to be huge supply.
Is going to be a serious problem.
But the sad thing about all of this is that, and what the Bank of Canada, and they just don't get, right? Because they're not on the ground like all of us. It's the kids that are suffering now. Their activities are, what's the first thing to go, right? The first thing to go is your entertainment. And then, you cut off all that, but then the kids, people have to stop the activities that their kids are doing, like either playing, gymnastics or whatever. And now these kids have nothing to do. And it's sad. And they just don't get what they're doing.
I think they do get it. I don't think they care. And I have to, I mean, it almost doesn't make sense when I say it, because all humans care. But in this situation, why I say that is because I believe that what it is that they have a mandate, and that's what they care about. And so that mandate is important to get inflation to 2%. So whatever we have to destroy along that path is what we have to do. And that's what I mean, that they don't care. They're calloused by it. And what's really, really odd is that the inflation came in at 2.8%, right? For the month of June. And that extra 0.8 is actually all housing. It's all because of their interest rate hikes. So it's like, yeah, it's kind of crazy. So inflation is really where it should be, but because of the Bank of Canada's rate hikes, we're experiencing even higher inflation. At least anybody that has a mortgage or anything like that, experiencing inflation that we've never seen in our lives.
And then what do you think is gonna happen after that? Everybody's got to rent. Rent's gonna go crazy again.
But rent's already gone
Yeah,
crazy.
well, that's what I'm saying. How
Rent's-
bad is it going to get?
Yeah, rents are insane. They have single-handedly screwed everything. And you know
Yeah.
this is the thing that people don't get. There are two big, I believe, reasons why this is all going down. One, because Bank of Canada went super aggressive during COVID to try to stir the economy. And so they gave basically free money away, and that drove up prices. And then they did quantitative easing to just throw all kinds of money basically at the federal government and the banks. And then that ballooned into this inflation problem that we're having. They won't tell you that that's how it is, but that is how it is. That's what did it. The inflation didn't happen for all these people that are out there that talk, these economists that talk and say, well, no, because when we came out of COVID, we had saved money and so we went out and spent. That's not why. Because even if we all come out and spend, I bet you the economy is only turning at $100 billion. But what they did, they turned the economy at $384 billion. So that, but they're pretending that that's not anything to do with inflation. It's insane. And one more thing I'd like to say, of course, because while I did just take a breath, the Bank of Canada gave out something like $200 and something million in bonuses. Again. Now, we talked about it on the show before, and we had Anthony supporting the Bank of Canada with saying that it was okay. So for all you guys, you need to write in some hate mail on this guy. But they did it again. And meanwhile, they're saying to everybody else, don't give out bonuses, don't pay extra money, whatever, we need to shrink the money. And they're still handing out bonuses after doing such a horrendous job.
Well, they don't think they did.
Done with that. Just wanted to
when they say they give out bonuses, who makes that call to give out bonuses? And isn't there like don't they have like a budget? Like how do they're gonna say, okay, you get a million, what is it, Oprah show? Like everybody gets $1 million?
That's a really good question. I have no idea how it works. What I can tell you is the way I see it. Hey guys, we did an amazing job. We lost $3 billion in the last 3 quarters. I think everybody, and it's the first time in the history of the bank that they've ever lost even a penny. They normally make money, but we lost $3 billion in the last 3 quarters. We all deserve a raise.
Yeah.
And everyone gets a rose. That's the way I see it. Internally, of course, it's very different, but that's the way I see it.
So it's kind of like when I'm not sure what we call it, when the mayors and them, when they have to get a raise and they get to vote on whether they get the raise or not. Is that kind of what it is?
I actually don't know how it works. I think what should have happened is because they lost $3 billion. Do you know that they do not remit $3 billion on any year? It's usually $1 billion, or I think the highest was $2 billion. But in 3 quarters, they lost $3 billion. That what should have happened? Not you get bonuses, everybody has to pay it. Like when you're making money, you're gonna distribute it and give people money, I guess, within the company, but you lost money, so now everybody's got to open up their wallet and pay. And then let's see how many of them like Tiff Macklin after they have to open up their wallets and probably cut check for $100,000, $200,000 in order to pay back.
How it should be is same thing for like the mayors, governors, all those people. When they want to raise, the vote should go to the people. And then if the people say, you know what, okay, you did a good job, you get like a whatever, you can maybe have like even a thing, 0%, 0.5%, 1%, 2%. You have a vote. Whoever's the highest wins. Same thing for Bank of Canada, all these people. Like, I don't see how do you get to say, how do the people in the positions get to say, okay, I need a raise, and they're the ones who say yes or no to it. Like, where's the hierarchy to that?
Yeah, well, I will say Tiff Macklin does not get bonuses. He's not allowed to get them.
Yeah, how much does he get paid though?
Yeah, thank you.
Honestly, I don't think I honestly don't think he makes some money. Yes, he makes good money, but I honestly don't think it's enough for the job. But I also don't think he should be in that job either. I think he's like a great, it's like the Donald Trump thing, right? If he ran the country and made it prosperous, but his the way in which he spoke and stuff like that wasn't good. So he would be a great like man behind the scenes organizing everything. And then you have like an Obama or a Bill Clinton or something that's a great orator and can please most people out there pretending that they're running things. And I think with Tiff Macklin's the same sort of thing. He should be behind the scenes and have somebody a little bit more sensitive to Canadians' issues, being the head guy making decisions, and he's just giving them reports and giving them ideas. I think that's about it, because he's a very bright man, but I don't think he can run our
I'll say it again. I
Canada.
think that countries need to be run a little like a business, because it is a business, right? It's losses, it's this. And I mean, when you do something, it should benefit the country, should benefit the people in the country.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
And the only people, Ben, can you imagine? I honestly, I'm like shocked. And so, it's a great reason why I shouldn't have my own show. Can you imagine if I was talking for an hour and by accident I slipped onto the fact that the Bank of Canada, they gave out bonuses for the horrible job that they did? I wouldn't be able to stop talking about that.
Get it now.
Yeah.
But it'd be more in depth though, Jackie. And so we have a few emails, and I think you might have got my first hate mail for today, but we'll get to that one last. We got one from Anne. Anne says the worst. Tiff, absolute worst. How about that absolute, let's say, prick? And his boy toy Trudeau can join him. So that's from Anne. I think she's on your side there with Tiff and Trudeau. From Mike. Mike says, hey, my thoughts. Hi, your team from Atlanta, Georgia. My sister lives up there in Canada, and she hates the government up there right now. Your prime minister is just a crap load of problems. She used a different word. For Canadians. Or sorry, he used a different word. For Canadians. Because he has to appease the world with his liberal nonsense. His left-wing BS is killing all of you, just like Joe Blow down here. Good luck in getting rid of him, that idiot, Trudeau, as we need luck to get rid of Biden. Well, you guys got your chance in a few months or around a year or so.
Yeah. I get kind of blown away that we actually vote these people. Like how did he get a second term? I really need to, what would be amazing? It would be amazing if we could actually interview the people who are voting for them and find out, what was the reason? Oh, because he gave me $500 for a grocery bill.
No, because my great grandmother was liberal.
Yeah, that kind of stuff too. So
sometimes that is it. People just vote what their family because like me, I don't follow it that much at all.
Yeah.
So there's many people out there that are not into this politics, and they really don't know what's going on. So they vote what their parents vote, or they vote,
Okay.
Well, that and most of them don't vote. What's the vote rate we get here? Like it's around 50% when people vote.
Yeah, less than that. Yeah, last time.
So the whole system's kind of flawed. The system's flawed. We don't use the system properly. So
it's our fault.
Yeah.
It's our fault. And and I haven't been following this Polyev guy, but every time I hear him talk, he makes a lot of sense. But that's the part that's kind of scaring me, is that when he gets in, is he really going to do any of this stuff?
Exactly.
Or is he,
Tell you a good
or is
story.
he just poking at the holes because that's what his job is? So, you know,
Right.
I don't really know. I wish we could get someone who was really serious about cleaning up the mess that we're in. And you know,
All right,
but
well,
I don't think that's gonna happen.
not
Oh.
not too soon, but we got 2 more emails. I got 2 now, but we're gonna address this in a second. So the first one's from Jane. Jane says, Anthony, you used to be my hero, not anymore. Can I come to your hotel room and pee in your bed? Well, well, no, Jane. We also got we got Dan. Dan says, Anthony, are you nuts? I make $95K a year, and my family of 4 is hurting with our mortgage, bills, etc. And these liberal idiots give themselves a raise. Are you nuts? So now, just for context, here's rule number 1. You cannot listen. You cannot listen to what Randy says. Randy just speaks. He just has words. I can't remember. I can't remember what it was. He was.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, go ahead. No, I don't trust you.
No, what it was you weren't saying that they deserved the raise or anything like that. What you were saying is that you didn't believe that their raise contributed to inflation because they won't spend that money, they'll save it.
Yes.
Differently. So you were having that argument, and I have friends that believe that argument also to be true.
Well, the argument is true. I don't agree that they should have gotten the bonuses at all. I think that the whole thing's foolish. But what I'm saying is, you can't say because they got a raise. Well, yeah, you were saying because they got a raise, they're going to be adding to inflation. But I'm saying these people who are getting raises are mostly millionaires, multimillionaires, right? So if you give a millionaire another $100,000, he's not like the people who make $95K a year where they're going to spend it to pay off their bills, right? That money is going to bank, going to investments, going to whatever, right? So it's a different use for the money than the rest of us people who have the regular jobs, who are basically scrounging day to day. So rule number 1, Jane and Dan, don't listen to Randy here. He's a little twisted in his word choice.
I appreciate your emails. I see them as probably the 2 best emails so far since we've started this show. And I hear what you're saying, and at that time I was quite pissed off that they got the raises or the bonuses, and this time you know, and that time they, you know, I felt that they were ruthless in their approach because Tiff Macklin specifically said that to the jobs that don't increase the income, don't give out bonuses, you know, he's discouraging that, but meanwhile he's doing it. So that's where my issue is. And if he believes, if part of the policy is that he believes if the companies are giving out bonuses and that adds to inflation, then it should be the same philosophy within the Bank of Canada. That's sort of my take on it, but I understand where you're coming from. I just don't like it.
Sorry, there's a little bit of activity happening here. But I wasn't listening to you, but I'm pretty sure I was right from before, so we'll just go there. But but yeah, as long story short, I don't agree with what they did either. I think they're kind of talking out of their ass. You can't say one thing, do the other, and do one thing for me, but do something else for you, right? So I thought the whole thing was ridiculous at the same time. And my only argument was that I didn't think it's going to be detrimental really with inflation per se, right? So it's a multifaceted, I guess, argument, but which I was right on both steps, right? But we'll argue that one later.
No, I think you were just justified in what you said, and I think that the emails were justified in what they said, and yeah, I'm glad you got ripped. So, Jackie, did you want to do one or no?
No, sorry.
No, okay. Well, as I said, sales are up 7%. Average price is up 4.2%. New listings is up 11%. As we said earlier, that is where the issue is. We're starting to see inventory pile up. Even though sales are up, they're up over the worst month last year. So that doesn't really say anything. If you actually look at the sales number, they're actually declining month over month. And rightfully so, because we're into the summer months, we will see the true direction of the market come this spring. I mean, this fall and this spring. The numbers really do look like we are starting to head towards a real market shakeup. However, the only saving grace here, if you call one to save the real estate market, or you think it should crash and come down to a level where people can afford to buy homes, you could have either philosophy, but because Trudeau is bringing in so many people and there's not enough housing, that pressure alone may actually really hold up the prices. And there was an interesting comment that Justin Trudeau said that a lot of people are talking about, and it was just along the lines that he doesn't control housing. That's not their the federal government main mandate. However, he does want to help with the issue, but he got ripped to shreds because this is going to be a little bit technical, but I'm going to try to keep it in layman's language, is that the housing problem is split into two baskets, right? It's demand and supply. And he is right in the sense that housing supply, he has very little to do with. Okay, that is mainly at the municipal levels where that comes in. Now, one of the things that was introduced last year was sort of like the bribe, like let's bribe the municipalities to do more housing. So how we'll do that is if you do more housing, if you make this your goal, we'll give you this much money. Excellent idea where the federal government can actually have a way at tipping the scales of supply. So Justin Trudeau has a lot more power than he thinks that he has. The other issue where it's all about Justin Trudeau's government and how it's run and the policies it makes is on the demand side. And that's pretty much all to do with the federal government. If you're bringing in 1 million people into the country, you're bringing in a lot more demand on the marketplace, right? That's federal, and only he has that control. The federal CMHC with the insurance to allow people to put smaller deposits or that's federal. And that has directly to do with demand, because you create policies that make the housing either affordable or unaffordable for people, and therefore you're driving demand with your policies. OSFI, the regulators for the banks, the policies that they put in place also have to do with the demand, because if they say, which they're in the process of doing, to the banks that you are only allowed to give out 25% high ratio loans, boom, that's it. That lowers the amount of demand that the market can even accept. And so the federal government has a lot of levers when it comes to the demand part of the equation. And so that's what made the comment so illiterate, is that he if he would have qualified it a little bit and said that, well, on the building of homes at a federal level, we don't have really much influence over, but we are trying to do it or something like that, he would have been okay. But when he said that, this isn't real estate is and housing supply or housing is not really in his wheelhouse per se, that was actually really, really dumb comment, like really dumb, like incredibly dumb. And
I thought you were scared of being reprimanded.
I know, hey?
yeah, that's why I'm glad. Like I can only talk a little bit on the show because there's other people talking. Because
well, we got 2 emails too, so we can go finish up your point there.
no, I'm done. It's a dumb comment. It was just. As a matter of fact, actually, I would say that it's actually an incompetent comment for the leader of Canada to make.
Not fleshed out well enough. But anyways, we have 2 emails. One from Sharon. Sharon says, for Randall, so she used your full government name there. There's Randy talking out of his ass again. Be a man and tell the truth. Tip salary is $459,380.
How much?
100.
According to the government, I know it is. According to the government website, I checked it too. For full disclosure, his net worth is currently set at $8 million on the website. He gets enough money to do his job. He's not underpaid. Quit trying to be nice. Before you jump in there, I'll defend you a little bit here, where I'll agree with Sharon that he is getting enough to make for the job. However, I did a search too before when you're talking about that, and it says so his salary is $459. So basically, let's call it $500,000. He gets $500,000 for his job, but the Bank of Nova Scotia, there are 7 executives there, and with one of them, Brian Porter, he's getting paid $12.6 million. So again, not saying he should be getting $12.6 million, but if you're talking about just for the job he's doing, if he were just to go on the free market, he could probably get more money. I think that's what you're kind of getting at. Yeah.
Wow.
So yes, $500,000 is enough. Is a lot of money for most of us. I would take $500,000, right? But we're just talking about, again, it's all about context, right? So in terms of the job he's doing, yes, it's paid very well. However, if he didn't care about Great Canada, he just wanted the most money possible, there's many other jobs that would be much better suited that he could do.
Yeah, the problem that I have there, and the reason why I made that comment is when they're making $500,000, or even our prime minister makes $500,000 a year, and you got basketball players making 18 million. Like, come on,
60 million,
60 million, whatever. And it's like, but these people are running our country. They should be one of the highest paid people in the country. And then therefore they don't have to do any backhanded deals.
Yeah.
They don't, because it's too valuable of a position to risk it with backhanded fraud. So, but that's just my opinion. I actually do not believe he deserves to be in that position, but I think whoever is in that position should be one of the highest paid people in Canada. And I think the same thing with our prime minister. And I think that,
Are you running for prime minister or something?
I do not even have the qualifications.
I'm joking, because you're saying they should get paid.
The best I've been is the head of student council
even that's surprising. Although you do spin a good tale, so maybe that's it. As we have a few minutes left, so we have one last email before I let you finish off. But from Pierre says, Pierre has a 100% rating for his bills, laws, and suggestions when he gets the votes in Parliament. He is right for Canada. He tells the truth. If he gets elected, he will do what he says he will do, only if he gets the votes from the opposition to do them. He is like Trump. He wants to clean up the swamp of BS in this country. And that's when you talk about Pierre.
Maybe
maybe we will find out. But if he's like Trump, isn't Trump in a whole bunch of trouble right now? I honestly, for the United States, it is absolutely hilarious what's going on in the United States. That you got one, you got two parties, and one party seems to actually rule. When I say rule, they can go in at gunpoint and raid Trump's place, but Biden, it's like you know, they're finding these documents in his car, in his driveway, all that stuff. And it's perfectly okay. No raiding of nothing. You got like, it is, there was something to do with cocaine in the White House. They found it. And then they're pretending like they don't know how it got there. Like none of us,
flour.
none of us have the technology that they have because every square inch of that's on camera, but we all know where it came from. Like, and they don't know where it came from. Yeah, okay. You know, there's just some really, really silly things going on there. There is definitely two-tier justice system there. What the government is doing and what the Democrats, I think personally, is doing in the United States is shameful. It's just shameful. And I think it's actually would be very embarrassing if I was a Democrat there. I would be embarrassed to actually be a Democrat. Then I would have to, I don't know what I would do. Leave the party? I have no idea. But it is crazy. Remember, they impeached Donald Trump over a phone call that everybody read the transcript for. And there's nothing there, but Biden's getting millions of dollars. His whole family is getting millions and millions of dollars from all these countries and stuff like that. And it's perfectly okay. There's no impeachment. The Republicans are actually, I guess my layman's view, the Democrats, I think it's shameful what's going on there. But the Republicans, I don't know if they're like, I don't know what's going on there, why they wouldn't have impeached Biden over, you know, tit for tat, impeach him just because he fell off his bike.
We have two more emails, but isn't it with the Biden thing? Isn't that more with his son though? Because how would they impeach the father for the son?
No.
He was involved in some of the deals.
No, okay. We don't know any of that. We don't know any of that. But
there you go again with your niceness.
No, I'm just saying we don't know any of that. But it's just really obvious. It's really obvious.
You're talking out of two sides of your mouth.
We don't know. That's why they're not impeaching.
We got two more emails. So
you don't know what the weather's going to be tomorrow either. But
all right. So from Hank that says Randy's right about Trudeau when you were talking about Trudeau a while back, and Darlene says, Anthony, the banks are a private sector. Government employees should not make the kind of money Randy says to run the country. That is so idiotic and liberal. A job that we pay for. They do not need to make more money. If they want it, go into the private sector. So what I'll say that before you got jump in, Randy, is it is a job that we pay for, but we end up paying more when we don't pay them. That's what Randy's saying. So either we pay them now, or they're going to steal it from either side. Either we pay them now, or they're going to steal it from us later. So you choose, in my opinion, right? So if we, as Randy's saying, if they should make $7 million, maybe don't pay them $7 million. Maybe pay them. Just make it very enticing, 2 to 3 months. Make it enticing enough so that they won't risk doing these deals. So that they're looking out for themselves versus looking out for the country, right? So as we can all think it's all roses and cakes and whatever, but at the end of the day, we're motivated by money, a lot of us, right? So if you take that motivation out of the picture and they can just focus on their job, not worry about all the other stuff, just do the job properly. And if that's if they're making that $2 million, the moment they do something stupid, they should be gone. Like this, there's no question to ask. Get them out. Next person, right? So just pay them properly, do the job properly. If you're not in, you're out. And like take away all these. Even if you want to take away all like the extra bonuses, the retirement stuff. Just pay them well enough so that they can have enough to retire. If they're out, and then you move on to the next person. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, like getting paid for the rest of your life is ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I think it, to be in a position like that, like it's got to be a little bit dangerous. So I think you got to have like body.
But I was talking to a couple from England last week, and it was funny because we were kind of talking about this stuff, right? And she said, you might know the name of them, but when they were switching over or whatever, there was this guy that was running things in the country for 45 days. And for 45 days, now he's getting paid for the rest of his life, that salary. And he was only there 45 days. Like, come on.
So I think you should take away all that stuff. Pay them very well, where if they're there for 2-3 years, they have enough to retire. But like, don't give them like 45 days and you're set for life. That's ridiculous. If you do a crap ass job, like to me, that makes no sense. So
Yeah, I agree.
Anyways, people, we are at 12, even though we're getting a bit heated here at the end. So if you would like to catch the online, find us on YouTube, search for at Your Team Pros. You can catch this show and all our past shows. If you have any questions during the week, send it to info@yourteam.pros. We would love to hear from you. And as always, it's been your home, your money, and our lives on valuevator101.com. Have a great
Bye
weekend.
for now.
Thank you for listening to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy, Jackie, and Anthony, right here on Reality Radio 101.